Hi there, it's Shorty again, and I am here to read to you from the Book of the Zodiac about having the moon in Virgo. So make sure you take the time to calculate your moon, find out what sign your moon is in, and if it's in Virgo, then this is for you. You may be a little nervous to read what it means to have a moon in Virgo. You probably expect to have confirmed what you have long suspected, namely, that you are a worthless individual hopelessly lacking in charm or originality. The only reason you imagine that you have been lucky enough to do all so well in life so far is because others have been either too blind or too kind to notice this. I'm glad you finally identified your moon sign because it gives me the chance to say what you have long needed someone to walk up to you and shout in your ear. You are a marvelous, magnificent individual. The only thing wrong with you is that you have a moon in Virgo. And this is not really wrong, it's just that it often makes you doubt your skill, undervalue your contribution, and rip yourself to shreds with viciously sharp self-criticism. Many people like the fact that you're so inclined. It allows them to exploit you, manipulate you, and hire your services for a fraction of their true value. It's only those who truly love you who are baffled and frustrated. Why are you so self-disintegrating when it's clear to them that you are the most intelligent, sexy, sensitive, talented, and funny individual they've ever met? All you need to do is reassure them and yourself. Learn to laugh at your inherited astrological tendency to sell yourself short and become the wise, witty, talented star you truly are. Your moon in Virgo makes you a very easy person to get along with. You're tolerant, considerate, and always willing to see the good in others. Most people, in turn, find you fair and thoughtful, wise and reasonable, bright and interesting. It's only fools you don't suffer gladly, and they, conveniently enough, tend to be similarly dismissive of you. A fool, according to your definition at least, is someone who puts quantity before quality, style before substance, and money before happiness. As a highly principled person, you find such short-sighted, unprincipled behavior anathemalia. You consider it essential to keep away from such dangerously disruptive characters. Unfortunately, in today's world, it's not always easy to do this. As a result, you frequently find yourself arguing with or being impeded by these noisy, presumptuous beings and their incessant stream of poor judgments. You grow tired of dealing with them, and your loved ones sometimes grow tired of dealing with the frustration you find so hard to hide. They often have to remind you not to let yourself be so bothered by what you consider to be waste or stupidity. The moon in Virgo makes you yearn to live in a world that makes sense. But the sad fact is that few things in life ever really do. An ability to appreciate the bizarre, funny, and ironic side of the psychological defense mechanism you need to put in place if you want to become more relaxed about your closest relationships. You probably also need to counter a tendency to undervalue what you have to offer others. You seem to swing between feeling that you're not good enough for anyone, and usually by way of overcompensating for this fear, that you're far too good for everyone. Concentrate on giving more and judging less. You'll find all the emotional fulfillment you so richly deserve. We've already discussed your tendency to be viciously self-critical, similarly critical about those you feel are wasting their potential in life. What we haven't discussed is the link between these traits. Before I do, I will remind you of many assets in the Virgo moon, including diligence, wisdom, and reliability, which are among the most obvious. You have all three of these in abundance, plus the ability to be magnificently sensual, creative, and compassionate. What you lack is sufficient defiance, arrogance, and rebelliousness. More than all that, you find it impossible to voice the phrase, "I couldn't care less." Sometimes we all need to be able to say this. The trouble with you is that no matter how trivial the scenario, you couldn't care more. You may have a great sense of humor, but you only find some things funny. By and large, you take life and yourself too seriously. Your overwhelming sense of duty makes you yearn to do your best at every juncture. Because you have such impossibly high standards, you frequently fail to live up to them. Thus, you forever drive yourself harder and further forward. And when you see others who clearly need to do the same resting their laurels, it triggers resentment. You ask, how come they can live with themselves when they have so far to go, while I don't seem to be able to? But the best solution is simple. You don't need therapy. You just need to relax, relax, and relax some more. Okay, so if you have the moon in Virgo and then the sun in Aries, you're far from a typical Aries. You notice details and worry about problems before they arise, but you're very swift to adapt. If your sun is in Taurus, you're deeply sensual but determinately pragmatic. Quality counts for everything, and details matter immensely to you. If your sun is in Gemini, you're very clear, but can sometimes be too smart for your own good, talking yourself out of ideas that are actually worth pursuing. If your sun is in Cancer, you're careful, cautious, kind, and considerate. You're also extremely clever. Few ever manage to pull the wool over your eyes. If your sun is in Leo, you take pride in your ability to make the right decision. You worry more than you need to, for your instincts are merely misleading. If your sun is in Virgo, you're so marvelously inscrutable that you won't even tell yourself what you really feel. Nonetheless, you're a very powerful person. If your sun is in Libra, you're witty, wise, and exceedingly good at understanding what really makes other people tick. Little escapes your notice. If your sun is in Scorpio, you have many friends who admire you for your great integrity, insight, and ability to manifest, both with even greater modesty. If your sun is in Sagittarius, you've got just enough seriousness to counterbalance your Sagittarian excessiveness without becoming too inflexible. You were born to succeed. If your sun is in Capricorn, you're rather fond of traveling. You like to go new places and learn new ways of looking at life. You have a deep, strong, natural faith. If your sun is in Aquarius, for a person with two key planets in supposedly logical signs, you're surprisingly compassionate, sensitive, and deeply intuitive. And finally, if your sun is in Pisces, you're an incorrigible romantic and not a secret one, no matter how much you may claim to be logical in your choice of partner. Okay, so I hope you found this information to be helpful, and I appreciate so much that you took the time to come and check out my video, and I hope that you know that I love you.